on, everybody? This is story time with Doug, and I'm going to share a few stories here and there, and hope you guys enjoy them. Some of them are just dumb, and some might be a little bit funny. But so this was my third year hunting. I had never shot a deer before, and yeah, I just was really a nervous kid when I was younger. Um, didn't do good with pressure. You got to do this perfect, or you're not going to get the deer and this and that and whatever. But so anyway, my first year, I ended up wounding a deer. It was walking in for at least 30 minutes, and I could hear it coming in. And by the time I saw it, it was only like 15 yards away from me, but I was shaking so bad that when I shot, I don't even know where I shot at. And the deer didn't run. It came walking up right beside the stand because it was kind of coming up behind me. And it was it was right down by the stand, probably like 5 to 10 feet away from me. And here I am, my first year, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. And I look down at the deer, my mouth is like wide open because I'm going like, oh my gosh, and I'm shaking. And the deer looks up at me, and I thought, I better close my mouth, it's going to see my mouth is open. So I shut my mouth, and the deer just stood there by my stand. And so I kind of figured by about this time that I must have missed it. And I had a lever action 30-30 that I was using from my Uncle Sam. And so I went and I levered in another shell. And of course, when I did that, the deer takes off and goes straight out, away from me. And I didn't even get a chance to get another shot. And my cousin came by a little bit later, and we went looking for it. And here I had hit it, but it obviously must not have been a good hit. We found a little bit of blood, but that was it. There wasn't nothing to track really. After a little ways, the blood quit. And then my second year of hunting, I was sitting in the same deer stand, and out in front, it was probably like about an 80-yard shot out front. Same 30-30 lever action, and my cousin was making a push to me, and he got on a big track, and I didn't know at the time. And here I'd been sitting in the stand for a while. I was getting pretty bored and cold, and I wasn't expecting anything. And that's usually when deer come for me, is when you least expect it. And anyway, I'm sitting there leaning back against the tree, probably, dozing off a little bit even, and got the gun on the shooting rail so it's not in my hands or anything. And sure enough, here come this big buck out in front of me in that 80-yard shot there, and was moving pretty good. Wasn't running, but it was kind of on a fast walk. And again, inexperience. And I got the gun up when it was moving. I tried to shoot, shot. The deer turned around and went the other way. I had no idea if I hit it or not. But anyway, so my cousin came back. I got to the stand, and we went and looked. We didn't find any blood, no hair, no nothing. I didn't hit it. And the reason I'm telling this story is because people are probably going to think I'm nuts. But this has been something that my family members have done for years and years and years and years and years. And I don't know if too many people know about it. I think a lot of people will like grunt or do something like that, or make like a doe baa when they see a deer, and they do that to get it to stop. Well, my third year hunting, I was sitting in the deer stand. This was a different deer stand on the totally opposite side of the road. It was a ways away from this other one. And I heard a dog just start barking like crazy, and it sounded like it was fairly close, and there was no houses close by at all. So, being young and inexperienced again, here I'm thinking there's a dog running around out in the woods, chasing deer or doing who knows what. And so I wasn't happy about that at all. And all of a sudden I heard this, sounded like a pig grunt, like a I mean a low grunt. And here, sure enough, here come this spike buck off to the right of me, kind of coming right at the stand. And right behind it was a nice 8-pointer. And that 8-pointer was chasing that spike. And, well, it must have heard me move or seen me move, or heard me move. It must have heard me, do something or seen me, because both of them stopped in their tracks, like right out in front of me. So, being inexperienced again, first thing I do is start shaking uncontrollably. And the deer's just standing there. Both of them are just standing there, probably about 15 yards apart. But I got a clear shot at this 8-pointer. And so I put my gun up. And again, like, I can't even remember where I aimed. I mean, it was just like it was one of those things where it was just like you can't remember everything. The things just happen so fast. So I pulled the gun up, 30-30 lever action again. And put the hammer back, shot, the spike takes off, but the 8-pointer stayed there. And I couldn't believe it. I thought, oh man, I missed it. Here I got this 30-30, got a lever in another shell. There's no way this deer's going to be standing there when I do it. And so slowly I started levering in the shell, and being young and dumb again, most of the time an experienced hunter would grab that shell before it falls out of the gun to prevent noise, But being young and dumb, I levered out the shell. The shell clanked down and hit like every board of the stand on the way down. I mean, it dunk, 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 dunk. And I pulled the hammer, or pulled the lever back up so the hammer was back and ready to fire. And I look up thinking this deer's not going to be there. Sure enough, it was standing right there. And at that moment, I calmed down. I don't know why. Because like every other deer I've ever shot, after I've shot it, I shake like a leaf. But I calmed myself down and I said to myself, if you don't take your time this time, you're not going to get this deer. You're lucky to get a second chance at this deer. You put the bead right on it. You make sure you get a good shot at this deer. And sure enough, I put the bead right on the deer. I remember right where I was aiming. And every other deer, it's the same way. I remember exactly where I was shooting at. And pulled the trigger, and the deer kind of dropped down, and it took off. And it took off in the direction where I was hearing this dog bark. Well, after I'd shot and the deer took off, I heard this dog just going nuts again, and it didn't sound like it was that far away, and there were no houses anywhere near there. I don't know where this dog was, but I got scared that this dog was going to go after my deer and start gnawing on my deer, before I could get to it. So my cousin was hunting on the other side of the road, and I couldn't even tell you how far of a walk it is. It's probably 25 minutes, I would say. Roughly 25 minutes from that stand to my cousin's stand. And I was, nervous and scared. I was thinking, I got to get to my cousin so he can help me track this. And so I went to my cousin. I came back. We came back to the stand. Went walking out right in front of the stand, and sure enough, the deer was like 50, 75 yards away from where I shot it down, and I hit it perfect. But inexperienced, like, it you have to almost like go out and do it to get the experience. You can't have somebody tell you, you know, this is what's going to happen, this is how you're going to react, and no, not for me anyway. It was right then and there was the learning experience for me, and since that day, I haven't not got a deer that I shot at. Till, you know, from that day, for my third year, which was when I was like maybe 16, 17. So I mean, it was like 25 years ago. I haven't not gotten a deer since then. And it's just because I've taken my time, making sure I put a good shot on that deer. And I guess that's my story. It's probably long and boring, and probably nobody will watch it, but I just thought I'd share that. Like young hunters, don't get on them too much. You know, you got to tell them certain things, but I think you got to let people kind of figure out things for themselves when they're that young. You got to just, I guess the main thing is just everyone to stay safe. That you know, that's the main thing when it comes to hunting, handling the gun and everything. Just be safe. Have a good day, you guys.